that most poker people are on edge and they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. So, you know,
¿Cuánto tiempo tiene que ganar el pavo que mete la info en el programa para que 5K no le ponga goloso?
we've been watching kind of what took place. We watched the hand a bunch of times. We saw the interview that you put up there where you were explaining yourself, which I thought made sense to me. And then you got
Aquí
the
está
tweets that you're
la
kind
chica de la mano, básicamente.
of been putting out. So then Sean D basically made a quote tweet where he talked about something that took place at the table where it's some sort. Maybe Sean, you can explain, and then Robbi, you know. But I just kind of wanted to lay that out there for a little bit, just to kind of set the table for where we're at right now.
Yeah, Robbi, I just have some questions for you, and you know.
Vale, este es Sound Deep. Bueno, este es el que también, para los que estén dentro de la comunidad de póker, que es como el ICM Police, ¿no? En plan, como que mira a ver los ICMs que pone la peña, creo. Este chaval, yo os recomiendo, este tío tiene pinta de ser buena peña, pero al parecer ha hecho como este mega cambio físico y tal. Que siempre vaya conjunto a deporte, porque la de rebotes que se ve de peña, que pierde un montón de peso y luego es por restringirse la puta Nutella, eso acaba volviendo, así que hacedlo con deporte. No sé si él lo hace o no, ¿eh? Creo que sí, pero no sé. Los americanos que están loquísimos.
Feel free to answer them. I'm not trying to attack you. I just want more information.
Pero ¿por qué siempre que hacen trampas? Porque hay gente muy tonta, tío. Es que yo creo que es algo que no nos damos cuenta. Y es que aquí en Twitter, en el hilo este de Joey, hay peña que dice en plan... o sea, es que hay gente que es... Es que hay gente que... Es que... Hostia, es que hay gente muy loca, ¿sabes? Hay uno que decía en plan... Pero bueno, pues le paga porque es un puto bully de mierda y para putearle al imbécil este, ¿sabes? Que hay gente que piensa así, ¿sabes?
What is your relationship with
Y este le dice, tengo preguntas para ti.
Rip? I just want more information. What is your relationship with Rip?
Hostia, chavales, que no vamos desencaminados. Le ha preguntado, ¿cuál es tu relación con el del sombrero vaquero?
Okay, first of all, I don't know who the fuck you are, and I just feel like you're attacking me. Nice
Vale, lo primero que le dice, la primera en la frente, literalmente. El primer le dice, lo primero, no sé quién coño eres y me estás atacando.
to meet you, though, on these pretenses, which is interesting.
Well,
Me parece que está mucho más espabilada, ¿no?
you can text
I
Jaka
will-
and need him go
But
over
I've gotten
that, so-
I've gotten a lot of feedback about the type of behavior you have towards women. So if this is like an attack on women playing poker,
Vale, esto ya me parece que es... esto ya me da bastante pereza, o sea... Me acaban de dar feedback del cómo tratas a las mujeres, así que si esto es algún tipo de ataque... A ver, te he hecho una pregunta que es ¿qué relación tienes con...?
it is what it is.
I mean, you could play the sexist card. It has nothing to do with.
Oh no, I
anyone-
don't ever do that. I've never ever dropped it, and if anyone knows that about me, they'll know that I've never done that. But
I mean, you say you've been in poker for a while, focused on poker.
no, I haven't actually.
Here, Sean. Let me just kind of start with this, Robbi. So basically, right, in this situation, I mean, you could just let's tell people a little bit about your background a little bit, because people have been wondering, you know, because we see you on stream a few times. We watched the past couple streams. I saw you're working for us, Jaka Coaching. Shout out to the Jaka Coaching water bottle. So just give people a little background on you, where you kind of come from, just so people kind of have a little better understanding.
Yeah, I'm just from the biopharmaceutical industry. I've been doing that for 15 years, and I started playing poker really heavily during the pandemic.
Está en la parte de la
Industry. I've
farmacia.
been doing that for.
Have a little better understanding.
Yeah, I'm just from the biopharmaceutical industry. I've been doing that for 15
Cojones, está en la biofarmacia industry y habla, o sea, está
15
hablando
years,
como muy
and I-
diferente, o sea, estoy...
I started playing poker really heavily during the pandemic as like a,
Empecé a jugar en la
I guess
pandemic.
like an opportunity not to discuss COVID with my family. So I started doing
Para no
poker
hablar de
nights
COVID
and
con
really
mi
got really
familia.
heavily, deeply involved in it. And I had the bankroll to support having personal coaching, at which point I did hire Faraz Jaka as my one-on-one coach. I've been watching a lot of poker streams. It's always been like a hobby of mine.
Parece
But to take it seriously, I
que
knew that I
tiene
needed
como
to take a
un
sabbatical from my
cocine
career,
director como
which
de
I'm in
1%,
CAR T
¿no?
therapy.
En-
It's very
aquí
advanced
cuando habla.
science. I don't want to get too nerdy about it, but I've been doing that for all my entire life. So I was like, career change. I'm going to take a sabbatical, focus entirely on poker, go to the
Me estoy quedando loco, o
WO.
sea, literalmente me parecía retrasada en la mesa, pero a un nivel...
World Series of
no sé, tío.
Poker in
O sea, son
20
los focos que derriten a la peña aquí el cerebro.
with
yo
a
qué
bang.
sé.
but I also did go at 2021. I had relatively I was working full time at the same time, so I was like in and out. But I live in LA, so I can fly in
Pongo,
and out as
espérese,
I
tenemos una noticia caliente que dar.
choose.
A
And I
los
was like, oh,
muchachos, cállese, huevón.
this is kind of fun. Cash games you can obviously keep privately undergrounds, but like for the tournament setting, I knew that I needed to hire somebody one-on-one to do like personal coaching, and Froz is the one that I picked. And he's been really helpful, and I really appreciate he's actually going to send out a public comment.
A ver, pero que no hace falta, o sea, a ver, no nos va a ver. Si obviamente yo pensase que esta chica nos fuese a ver o fuese de Tarragona, pues no diría que me parece tontísima, pero que no pasa, o sea, que no va a haber este stream, ¿sabes? O sea, en la mesa parece corta, coño, o sea, no pasa nada.
And I don't want to like step over his shoes. I've been heavily advised not to speak to either one
O sea,
of
pero
you.
porque no habla con coherencia, o sea, es que literalmente habla como una persona que va drogadísima.
As you can imagine.
I'm sure.
But I
Yeah.
feel like it's fair enough to at least address what's been constantly berating my Twitter feed, which
Thank
is
you.
what Sean has been listing, which is fine. Sean, like I said, I don't know you, and I don't know why
I
you're
just I don't know why people told you not to talk to me if you don't know who I am.
Well,
And
here's the
that's-
thing, though. Why would I know you? We've never met. I've met most people in the poker world, but I
El tío ese, no sé cómo es con las pibas, si es machista, si no lo que sea, me da igual, pero la verdad que está espabilado y la tía también está espabilada, porque le dice, la tía, no te conozco, no sé por qué me preguntas eso, y dice, y si no me conoces, ¿cómo es que la gente te ha hablado de mí?
feel like it's interesting that you take interest in what's going on with me when you haven't addressed me directly. And there's a lot of people that have addressed me directly
En eso tienes razón la piba,
in my messages,
pero a ver, estás en un juego público y ha pasado una cosa extraña.
but yet you just happen to just publicly display your opinion about me and what's going on without actually talking to me and saying, hey, let's get on a podcast. Let's talk about this. You're not
I mean, I literally,
Yeah,
when I
that's
first
fine.
got on Joey, I said,
Pero,
you know,
bueno, a medias.
I have a lot of questions for you.
Yeah,
And
well,
I-
También el tío le ha dicho, tengo preguntas para ti, tampoco es que le haya dicho...
ask me.
and okay, so what is your financial situation with Rip?
My financial situation
¿Cuál es tu relación financiera con Rip, el vaquero, ¿vale?
with Rip is that we're actually business partners because we're both in the buy.
Holy moly. Como acierte la teoría que dentro de una semana llegue, iba a decir sorteo, pero realmente me tendríais que dar algo a mí, ¿no? Por haber acertado. Claro, ¿por qué coño me va a dar yo? Bueno, sí, por la mofa. Si acierto de las nuevas camis que van a salir, no sé, un par, algo de eso. Igual se me olvida y se os olvida y nadie me lo recuerda y nunca lo hago, pero prometo que si alguien me lo recuerda y en una semana sale eso comprobado, alguna cosa con él, lo prometo que lo hago, solo por las mofas. Esto era nuestro primer alegato, ¿eh?
Biotech industry, and we're actually creating a cannabis toothpaste. It has nothing to
Están haciendo un tipo de negocio juntos. Hostia puta. Cannabis toothpaste, en plan de pasta de dientes. Gol en las gaunas literal esto,
do with poker. I brought him on to the live stream last Wednesday because it was a referral. Hustler Casino Live is looking for
Hostia, ella ha traído al cowboy a la mesa porque era un referral, en plan, un afiliado.
people that are kind of fun, that have heavy bankroll, that are a different variety of sorts. And I was like, oh, I have a buddy that would love to go on stream. This is not his
Tengo un colega que le gustaría ir en stream.
financial well-being. His bankroll far exceeds what the poker world could ever thrive or provide for him.
Okay,
And so he's
did
just
he have
on there
any
for
piece of
fun.
your
And when
actions?
he saw that I was like, you know, feeling a certain way, he looks at me and he's like, you good? Are you okay? He's looking out for me as a friend would do.
Vale, aquí estás hablando
And that-
de... Pero esto no nos interesa nada. O sea, a mí no me interesa una puta mierda. Toothpaste, sí, o sea, pasta de dientes de cannabis. Esto
That interaction
ya es interesante, ¿eh? Le pregunta... o sea, le está diciendo que
That you
ve que se sentía
posted,
jodida y que
he's
él va a ayudarle. ¿no?
telling me
Las
that
sudas.
Nick wants to talk to me outside. That was it.
Vale.
Simple as that.
But
Yeah.
did either you guys have a piece of each
Let
other
me,
in
let me,
this
Sean,
game?
let me ask.
Ahora pregunta que si el cabo tiene parte, tiene porcentaje de
Let me
ella.
ask her a few questions, Sean. I've been watching this tape now for a long time. I've been seeing all the opinions here, And, I do just want to be respectful here because we appreciate you coming on, Robbi, and kind of giving us your thoughts on this situation. So in the hand at question, I guess a lot of people are, one big topic was about if you really misread your hand or if you thought you had
¿Qué es lo que pasa con la mano? Esta pregunta.
Jack
O sea,
four.
traduzco por los que no sepáis inglés, ¿vale?
Because the argument is that if you're cheating in a game and you know your hand's going to win the hand, then it doesn't really matter what hand that you have. You can just basically have any hand. You could automatically call and whatever. But it sounds like what you're saying happened was you were like, oh, I got Jack 3. Like,
Le está diciendo Joey que básicamente lo que parece que has dicho, lo que has dado a entender es que pensabas que tenías J3 y por eso has pagado.
I min-raised this guy. He went all in.
¿Con qué tiene el business? Con el del vaquero, el del sombrero.
I think this guy's full of shit. Obviously, we just saw Garrett last night with the King 5 bet $300,000 versus Andy. So, we know Garrett is capable of making a move with a bunch of dog shit. We've seen him do it plenty of times. So it sounded like to me you were basically saying like, hey, listen, I know you got nothing. Like, I don't think you got anything. I got a 3. I only got a bluff catcher here. Then I'm going to call. So we saw that you looked down at your cards, and to us it was like, okay, well, I mean, to me, if you saw the card, then you probably realized that you had a 4 and not a 3. So maybe some clarification on that, because I know a lot of people out there are really wondering about that.
Yes, so
Vale.
the cards right
Y
before
le
that
pide ahora
hand,
mismo
I
que
did
le
have
explique qué coño ha pasado, básicamente.
a Jack 3.
Right, exactly.
So when
Jack
I
3 of spades.
said-
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I said like, oh, a 3's no good, I thought I was holding the Jack 3. Like that hand just happened. Then when I looked down at it, I realized I didn't, and he was like, do you have anything? And I was like, you really going to give me that much credit that I have a pair? Because he asked me that. I was like, you really going to give me that much credit? And the one thing you have to understand about Garrett is that in previous hands, and even Frost knows this, I
Vale, está diciendo que lo que tenéis que entender sobre Garrett es que en manos
have
anteriores.
to understand about Garrett is that in previous hands, and even Frost knows this, I was literally on a coaching
Incluso Farad lo sabe.
call with him for 3.5 hours. And he even posted
Estuve con una sesión de coach con él de 3 horas.
it. If you want to look at it, go on his Twitter feed, and he posted our conversation that we had on a one-on-one like yesterday. I guess like the day before yesterday, now that we're past midnight. And in that conversation, which obviously he didn't record, I said like, this Garrett guy just keeps, I just feel like he's on me, and I feel like I will call
Creo que Garrett está como todo el rato encima de mí.
any hand if he pushes forward a huge stack. I don't think he has it, and I think he's got it in for me in regards to the fact that like he's pissed that he keeps letting me bluff him when I am, or I have it, and just the way that he looks at me is like,
A ver, pero si das coach 1 con 1, o sea, literalmente no es posible que pagues con J high un sub en el tour.
and I'm trying to be as polite as possible.
O sea, es que en 2 horas de coach, o sea, es que en las 2 horas que di con los draug estas de cuando hicimos lo de los galgos y eso, con estas 2 horas, o sea, que ha jugado nada,
I looked at him
estás
in
que
that
paga
hand,
con
and I'm
J
like,
high un
okay,
sub en el tour, ¿sabes? Y esta tía al parecer juega y Godlike ha dicho que estuvo jugando con ella y que es neat y que juega bastante bien.
I'm sitting with a jack. There's whatever he has. I thought he was on a draw, and I even let him
Pensaba que estaba con un draw, con un proyecto.
go with the previous hand that he had. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fold to you. I think you're on a draw. Turns out he had something better. I don't know what the fuck it was. I haven't even looked at it. But it looked like he was on a draw, and I let him have it. It was what it was. And I thought he was on a draw again. And that was it. And when the turn came and it was a 3, it weakens any of his draws. It weakens any of my
Cuando cae el 3, que empeora sus draws.
draws. But it puts me in a position that I know that he's potentially bluffing against me, which is why I asked to run it twice, because I knew that my jack high was potentially not going to win over what I thought might potentially be an ace high, which was the absolute
Vale, y pensé que no iba a ganar contra lo mejor de su rango, que pensaba que era as high,
best
y que por eso pidió que se runeara twice.
hand that I had him on. That was the best credit I was giving him. The fact that he was actually
Hombre, tiene sentido que se quiera justificar, joder. O sea, te están diciendo que haces trampas en una partida de póker.
holding a draw, which I kind of suspected at the flop, wasn't surprising to me either. I mean, this is somebody that I fully suspect of bluffing me. And I will say this more than a million times to anybody that asks, and they believe me, which is that if any other person shoved on me, I would not call. But because it was him, I played the man. I did not play the cards. And
Claro, es que Es que es lo que dice este, en plan, que con la calidad del proceso mental que tiene, no es sorprendente que pague con J. High.
I said it to
O sea,
him the
no tiene
moment
sentido lo de Play the Man para pagar un all-in, tiene sentido para blufear,
it
¿sabes? Con
happened
J. High.
because he looked at me. He's like, "Do you hate me?" I was like, "No, I don't hate you, but like you keep doing this. Like we keep going at this. And if you guys want to look back at like previous hands that we've had, even just in the last two streams that we've had, like we have a situation going on. This isn't somebody I just met tonight, and this is our first hand. It is not. I'm playing the man. At the end of the day, I played him because I knew that when he made that bet at the turn, he did not have it. And that's why I ran it twice, because I didn't have it either. So I was hoping, I'll be honest.
Vale, dice que como pensaba que él no la tenía y que él tampoco la tenía, pues run it twice y a ver si le cae, ¿no?
I'm embarrassed I won that hand. I was hoping for a 50
I'm embarrassed that I won that hand.
there. So I was hoping, I'll be honest, I'm embarrassed I won that hand. I
O sea, la tía se siente mal por haber ganado esa mano.
was hoping for a 50% just to split the pot. I was like, maybe I'll hit something. I have one over. Everyone's like, well, why didn't you think he had the 10? If he had the 10, he wouldn't have raised like that on the turn. Like he would have slowed
En eso tienes razón. O sea, si tiene el 10, no cree que hubiese sobeado en el turno.
it a little bit. So I know he didn't have the 10. Like I am that.
Vale. O sea, ella piensa que le está sobeando. Lo que pasa es que te pisa. O sea, le pisas un montón de draws. O sea, pero claro, es que igual tampoco piensa en eso. Quizás. ¿Sabes? En plan que ella piensa que pues tienes un draw, yo tengo una J y a la que me caiga, lo que no piensa es que, claro, que si el tío tiene rey J o tiene más J y tal, estás tiesa.
Study that I understand that. Like there is no reason to bet like that on the turn when he has a 10. So he was not holding trip 10s. And I knew that. And I knew it was a draw heavy board. So for me, I knew that he hadn't hit it just then. And that was it. That's why we ran it twice. I was maybe we'll go 50-50. Worst case scenario, I lose. And guess what? If I lost, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Es que la tía parece mucho más lista en esta charla que en la jodida mesa, que da un poquito de cosa. Dice, lo peor que puede pasar es que pierda, o sea, se la pela el dinero de una manera increíble. Y lo peor que podría pasar es que perdiese, y si hubiese perdido no habríamos tenido esta conversación. Razón no le falta aquí a la chiquilla.
Having this conversation. Garrett would have
A la mujerona con un par de huevos que ha bajado J. High, coño.
wanted everyone to be happy because Garrett's happy. And
Hombre,
I
claro que obviamente el thinking process de transatlántico bestial, o sea, no es el Titanic que se hundió, es el barco que está al fondo aguantando al Titanic cayendo.
should have lost that. 100%. I should have lost that. But I just didn't trust him. And I don't believe him. And I wasn't going to let him do that to me. And fucking, I mean, there
La movida es que Godlike dice que ha jugado con ella y que juega bastante bien y que es neat.
was absolutely no need for him to shove on me like that. And I felt that it was very, I don't know, it felt very like.
So my question for you is, you flip-flopped multiple times in that statement about whether you had a jack or a 3. It's like, that's the thing.
Vale, y ahora él le dice, a ver, te has estado columpiando de que tienes el 3 y tienes J high. ¿Cuál?
That worries me is that you say, I thought I had a 3, I had jack 3 the hand before. Then you say,
Pienso, o sea, que lo que más me raya es que decías que pensabas que tenías el 3.
well, I knew I had jack high. And so you keep flip-flopping your logic as a way to explain the hand.
Y que estás todo el rato cambiando de un lado a otro, qué es lo que tenías. Lo cual también es raro, pero si vas drogadísimo, pues...
If you say, I thought he was bluffing and I called him, okay. But you keep changing what you said you had and what you thought you
Not
had.
really, Sean. Let me remind you once again that the previous hand I had was jack 3. I'm under a lot of pressure
Vale, que la mano anterior que tuvo era un J3.
from what people consider the GOAT of the cash world. Look at that hand again. You think I have time to speculate and decipher all these things that you guys are breaking apart in hours
Pues,
of
a ver,
footage?
los actos parecen completamente de trampas y por cómo está hablando ahora, si no hubiese visto la jugada, pensaría que ni de coña está haciendo trampas esa mujer. Pero, ojo, no nos olvidemos del tema del cowboy.
And like opportunity to decide. You guys, like, you're giving it too much of a reading. I made an instant hero call on a man I did not trust. It's as simple as that. It was
You
a
have
hero
time
call.
chips. You have
And
5 minutes to
unfortunately,
decide.
it was the right
Y le dice, hice un puto bluff catch contra un hombre al que no creía. Díselo, reina.
call. And the odds were against me slightly, not really. I think it was like 47-53 after like all the, you know.
Lo peor de todo es que tiene razón. Es que pago al 50%. Dice, a ver, estamos al 50, bueno, un poco por debajo, pero no del todo.
Cards were dealt. They weren't even that much against me. And you're just, the fact that I just won both of like the runouts is the reason that we're even having this conversation.
Even if Garrett won both runouts, there would still be a question of how you called with that hand and why. And that's what
I don't think I just
be a question of
is the reason that we're even having this conversation.
Even if Garrett won both runouts, there would still be a question of how you called with that hand and why. And that's what
I don't think I disagree.
No, si pierde no se habla de esto.
When I said that I played the man and not the cards, you have to look at the other hands I've had with them.
Yeah, okay, Robbi, basically,
¿Y
Robbi.
por qué le devuelve el dinero? Sí que puede tener una explicación y es alguien que le suele apoyar el dinero y que está ahí para pasar un buen rato y que le da igual devolverlo para seguir estar ahí de buen rollo.
He's alluding to, right?
O sea, se nota que no le gusta el hecho de haber creado un mal mood en la mesa.
Really stick hands against Garrett.
No
One
sé cómo
hand.
estoy ni siquiera plantándome que esto no sea trampas.
He
pero
had
bueno.
King Jack. She made a big bluff on the river against Garrett. He had queens. He laid it down. The biggest hand, this was a sick hand, was Garrett 3-bet. For some reason, 3-bet out of the position with the King 6 suited. Robbi call in position, Ace King. Flop like 6-4 deuce. Garrett bets. Robbi calls. Turn is at 8. I think Garrett bet again. Robbi called. And then the river was at Ace. So Robbi makes Ace King on the river. So she got the top pair, top kicker. He basically shoves all in for like 2x pot. She thinks about it for a bit, calls. He is shocked. He's like, holy fuck, you actually called, and basically loses a 60K pot, which was a 300 big blind pot. So you guys do have an interesting history of hands that you played so far. And then you also mentioned, so I see what you're saying when you're saying, you know, like you got your own history with this guy. Like clearly, right? Like you guys were battling. I don't know what the hell is going on, but you guys were going after each other in my perception. And you mentioned also something about like off stream, you guys played as well too. So it just seems like you have more history with Garrett and you know he's looking to play hands with you. And it sounds like you are saying, well, if he's going to play hands with me, then I want to play a lot of hands with him and I'm not going to let this guy push me around. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, it's a lot of money to risk. So especially if you don't usually play high stakes cash games and people are like, why would you come on here and risk that much money? Everyone's like, oh, you know, what's going on with that situation? So, I mean, maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Robbi, I do want to say
Y le dicen, bueno.
something like, if your tweet is correct about the way the situation went down and he did threaten you or he did ask for the money, obviously that makes him look a lot worse. I think that that's not right to happen in any situation. This situation could be taken care of later, like the Phil Hellmuth and the angle shooting one from the streamer game where Phil ended up getting money back to the guy, then giving it back. I mean, there's plenty of time to make it right as, you know, cooler hairs prevail. And I think Garrett is a very reasonable person. And if he acted in a way that he, you know, goes back to his house and thinks what he did was wrong. I've never met Garrett, but I know that he has similar morals to me and he would make it right if he felt like he did something inappropriate to you. And, you know, obviously I don't fault you. I don't think you paying him is an admission of guilt. I think
No sé por qué me pasa eso. Creo que la gráfica me va a
we're definitely railroaded in a lot of ways in this hand. So, yeah, I think that those statements need to be made. I think you need to understand that if that's what happened, no one is okay with that in any scenario. Even if you literally told him I cheated and he demanded money back, I would not be okay with that. There's just no way. That's not the time or the place to do it or to make it happen. And, you know, you should have time to be away from the table, not mid-game, and, you know, not be trying to get him back in the game for better views or for the stream, because you have your own financial interests in mind, and that should be, you know, protected. And yeah, the integrity of the game is very important. And so however the hand went down, you know, the money back is.
Things for being considered for some regard.
Well, I mean, you just met me 5 minutes ago, so it's not hard to be the kindest thing I've said.
By the way, guys, the reason why is Sean and Robbi had an interaction on Twitter. Sean said, let's chat. Robbi said, let's chat. So that's why I'm letting these two have a chat about this situation, because obviously Sean, you know, he fired up about it. Robbi, obviously,
you know, but I hope that more footage comes out. I hope more information comes out, you know, once Ryan and Nick are able to do their full investigation and, you know, let them know. But, you know, I just.
Okay, so I don't want to interrupt you, but.
No, it's okay. I keep
so
talking.
Just want to make sure we're doing this like on the timeline of what was asked of me. So to allude to the fact that this is 135,000, whatever, I think it was actually a 200.
Yeah, it was 265,000, 100, maybe like 130K each on each side.
Right. So we're talking about like super high stakes here, and every pot can get inflated like that, and it's a matter of a few minutes that someone can lose 300,000 or win 300,000. I'm not actually like downplaying the value of a dollar here, but we're not sitting at this table worried about a dollar because you wouldn't be sitting there otherwise. So when we're in pots with each other, it's really about the hands that you're holding. So as much as it's like, well, you don't give a shit about 135, well, I could lose that in the next 5 minutes and potentially get 3x that in the next 10 minutes. I mean, that's why we're sitting at this table. Like we're sitting here playing our hands and we're playing poker. And the money is secondary to the fact that we're playing a game that we're trying to win. I don't think you sit there and you worry about money. We're not sitting there with scared money. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting there with those kind of stacks.
So
that's
I think
number
that
one. So for me, everyone's like, oh, 135, oh my God. But like, had we gotten back in another hand, he could have potentially taken that 135 right back and we wouldn't even be here talking about it because it's that easy to take back.
Even if I lose this hand, whatever, fuck it, we go to the next hand and I'm going to play another few out and I look like an idiot, like fuck it, whatever. I thought I made a move. It is what
If I know that, then I have, and we're going to have pasta and I was going to watch the football
here.
well,
And
later.
Bueno,
It was just to help alleviate the problem with somebody that's heavily.
bueno, creo que esto se está alargando demasiado. Y ya está, o sea, yo creo que esto lo veremos dentro de una semanita. Mi apuesta a priori es que pasa algo con el vaquero ese, sinceramente. ¿Por qué? Seguramente, no lo sé, o sea, el resto no lo sé, pero vamos, tiene pinta de que tienen algún tipo de deal, o sea, tienen básicamente tienen algo entre ellos de negocio, de pasta de dientes de cannabis, y ella metió al tío en la partida. No sé, es un poco raro eso, no sé. Yo es por lo que apostaría. Yo he apostado por eso sin saber eso y tiene bastante pinta por cómo reacciona, pero... ¡Hostia! Tenemos news. Muy detectivesco, sí. Acá tenemos news. Gareth, tengo una idea. Después... Vamos a jugar al heads up. Todo el mundo podrá ver cómo te leo todos los días. Buah, no ha hecho trampa, o sea, está... LOL. 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 I read the man and make a hero call. Get over it. Ok. Pues nada, creo que es una muy buena forma de cerrar. Díselo, Robbi, díselo, Reina. Bueno, chavales, muchas gracias a todos por haber estado ahí en el Twitch, en este Twitch Investigation que nos hemos zampado. Para todos los que seáis mega ultra novatos del póker, tenéis ahí una tremenda playlist. Que os recomiendo que veáis porque literalmente tenéis un coaching gratuito a Lord Draug, el youtuber, que hicimos para una cosa de galgos, para recaudar para galgos. Son 3 horas de contenido y tenéis aparte algunos vídeos aquí dentro de la playlist que creo que os pueden venir muy guay. Y bueno, pues para todo el resto ya sabéis, tenéis Mento, tenéis otras escuelas, en este caso yo estoy en Mento y tenéis todas las modalidades, spins, cash y torneos desde los niveles más bajos, que sería basic, pasando por los otros y demás, ¿vale? Aquí tenéis dudas clásicas y aquí el soporte de Discord. Sin más dilación, espero que lo hayáis pasado bien. Veremos en qué termina todo esto. La mano no tiene ningún tipo de sentido, así que es posible pensar en hacer trampas. Pero si asumas el cheating, tampoco tiene mucho más sentido. Tal cual. O sea, creo que literalmente es lo que más sentido tiene lo que acaba de decir. Ya voy, pongo. Pues nada. Espero que os haya gustado el stream y nos vemos pasado. Hasta luego, chicos. Chao, chao, chao.